I was recently talking to a client who is in the early stages of building her business. She has spent many years in the United States building her own career and recently quit to go full time on her startup. But she grew up in another region of the world, and she's recently been visiting that region of the world and remembering all of the folks that she knows who have taken advantage of a lot of family connections and family wealth and privilege to start their business ventures, and then acting like, oh, I did it all on my own, I'm so successful, I really pulled myself up by my bootstraps. That really grinds her gears, and frankly, I really relate to that. It's frustrating when people pretend like they did it all on their own when they had so much help. The question she's now facing is that she has the opportunity to potentially build her business in her home region. Or she could move to San Francisco and try to do it there where she knows fewer people. And the difference between doing it the easy way, maybe even what she would consider cheating, versus doing it the hard way, the legit way, right? And this is a tough question for any entrepreneur to ask. And I encouraged her to split this up into two different issues. Because on issue one, she doesn't want to be inauthentic about her success and about what it takes to be successful. And I think this is a really important value to her. I respect that. I certainly have that value. On one hand, it does work. People are compelled by those sorts of underdog stories. And even if you're not an underdog, it behooves you to make that case for yourself. There's a world where I get it. At the same time, if that's not for you, if that's not the kind of way you want to run your business and run your life, don't do that. But that is a separate issue from taking advantage of the resources that you have, right? I have another client who is building a fintech startup, and his family is in banking, and he is often getting various family members or extended family members to test some of his products and get that first customer or that first use case, that first pilot. And it makes a ton of sense. You have trust, you have a network. Should he go into a totally different business, manufacturing or publishing, where he has no contacts and no relationships? That wouldn't be advantageous. Why should he win against all these other people who maybe have those relationships or have more experience? He has experience in banking himself. He has a family that has various experiences in the financial services industries. He should leverage that. And I'm encouraging my other client to think that same way, to not be shy of taking advantage of what you have. As an example, this is Mike Maples Jr., who is an investor in companies like Twitter, Lyft, Twitch, and so many others.
So startup never beats a big company by executing better. We're looking to create the conditions where we're going to get to play an unfair game by unfair rules that favor us.
Every investor is going to ask you, what is your competitive advantage? Why do you have an unfair edge in this market with this business? Because anybody can have a great idea, and if you don't have the skills or if you don't have the relationships or some of the insights into this, then it's not going to be a place where you win, because somebody else who has those things is going to beat you. So you need to stack the deck in your favor. And I think this is an uncomfortable truth that people who are really kind and thoughtful and want to be fair and want to sort of win on their own merit don't always understand, that there is a difference between playing dirty, playing illegally or immorally, and stacking the deck in your favor, because building a business is so hard. You have to leverage the advantages that you have ethically, fairly, without lying about it. But if you don't use your privilege, you are unlikely to win, because folks like Bill Gates, the founder of Snapchat, they had tremendous advantages. They had a lot of things going for them. That's not the only reason why they won, right? There were other privileged folks out there who may have had the same upside but didn't do the work, didn't have the insight, didn't take the risk, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they had those privileges and those advantages. And most entrepreneurs I know don't necessarily have that, especially the outliers that I work with. They're coming from maybe a little bit more of a scrappier background. And you just gotta understand, like, you're competing against people who have those privileges and who aren't afraid to use them. So if you do have an advantage, use it when you can.
Think about that.